Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel World of Tanks with the Captain, and I'm going to be taking a look at the patch 10.0 test server, some of the new things that are going in the game for this patch. And I'm not going to go through absolutely every single bullet point, but I'm just going to go through the stuff that I think matters to the game. And the very first thing that I noticed on the patch list was there are possibly going to be improvements to the accuracy based on server and client side shot trajectories. So I'm sure everybody has had a shot go 45 degrees, out of your barrel because the server can't keep up to where your client is, and trying to keep everything, the same. So what the server sees is what you see, instead of what you see isn't what the server sees, and instead of your shot going where you shoot it, it goes where the server thinks it is, which is a building to your right instead of the tank that is to your front. So hopefully that sort of thing can get fixed up, because server infrastructure and server lag is not really a strong point of this game. So next, render circle. Render circle is something that's been in the talks and long talked about for a long time, and it's finally slowly made its way into the game, just like tank names took them a million years to put in, but finally it's here. But the main thing I can see, the problem that people are going to have with this, is that there's going to be tank destroyer people that are really going to be sad in Prokhorovka, where they can't camp in like A1 or A2 just in the back of the map and be able to shoot people that are in the middle of the map. Now they're going to only be able to shoot into like maybe the middle rib of the middle of the map. So it's going to change the way some of the maps play and the way people are used to playing them for such a long time. But I think it's generally a good thing. Your render range is going to drop from something like, I don't know, from diagonally, it's going to be more like 570, and I think before it was like 750 or 1,000 or something. So it's going to fall significantly and change the way some maps are played, which I like. The interface for camouflage, in particular on this M4 with a huge gun, has completely changed. So you can see right here I have no camouflage on this tank, so we'll go to this, put on some camo. You can see right here it says okay, it's going to cost 200. Unfortunately, it still doesn't really preview the improvements going to do until you add it to the cart. Then it adds the vehicle concealment improvement once you've added it. So you can then say, okay, I want to do summer, blah blah blah. I'm done with this, and go back. This button is not very placed very well. I think the back button could probably be where everything else is, like in the middle here. It just seems a little bit odd that it's over there. Next, we've got some marketing pay-to-win elements put into the game, which I find kind of distasteful, but I will go through it anyway. I can add a Canadian maple leaf to this French tank to piss off all the French people, and go purchase. I need to go to cart first, obviously, duh. And you can see here that this will improve the major qualifications of all crew members, which affects the overall performance of the vehicle. So yeah, we've basically just got like, buy some gold for our game, and then you can be slightly better, like 1% or 3% better at certain qualifications or in general. So they've added some. The marketing department has been like hard at work trying to figure out how to monetize World of Tanks even more than it currently is. So it's not a good thing for the game. I think this interface is a lot better. I like it. It's got some flow problems with where buttons are and things, but I mean, it still leaks better than it used to be. But the pay-to-win elements here are kind of unsatisfying. I don't really like the fact that they're here. And you can see I can go in and add Paris to the front of my tank and go 2% better with all my stuff. So you'll see all the people doing Clan Wars and who have the free gold going through and inscriptionizing all their tanks and making them look all blinged out and crazy looking. But for the rest of the people, that like the 80 or 90% of the people that don't spend an ounce of money on this game and aren't a whale or a Clan Wars player, or someone who plays tournaments a lot or has a lot of time to invest in the game to get free gold, then this is just basically going to be for the really, I don't know, maybe like the good players that really want to try and eke the very last little bits out of trying to get any advantage they can on another player. And that's kind of what this is. It's I don't know. I don't really like it, but I'm not going to dwell on this for too long. But at least the interface improved. And if you want to go through with this, you can get purchase. But for some reason, they decided to put the exit button to get out of this entire thing up in the top right corner. So if I want to go back, like I sat here searching around for how to get out of here because you can't hit escape. Escape doesn't take you out. It doesn't do anything for some odd reason. But you have to get return, and then that will dump you back into here. So the next thing I'll talk about is this tank right here. This is the M4A1. I know I should speak better French, but I'm not even going to attempt to say this properly. Revorizé. That's the closest I'm going to get. I'm not going to say it again. But it looks like a fun little tank. At tier 8, you've got 50 hull armor. You're basically going to be like a CDC with kind of crappier pen, but a lot more damage. The gun seems pretty okay. It doesn't fire very fast. You're not going to fire more than like every 11 or 12 seconds or something. But the average pen is okay. I mean, it's unfortunate that it's firing it's firing heat rounds for its prem rounds, but it's got a 105. I mean, it does 400 damage, and its accuracy isn't bad. The aim time is not very good, but I mean, just looking at what this tank is, it's going to be a support vehicle. I'm going to assume that the gun depression is probably not going to be as good as it is on a Sherman tank. So I could be wrong, but I don't really know if the stats for this thing are fully up on any of the sites or anything. So that you will have to ask somebody else about. But it looks like the tank will go okay. Like it's going to be like a medium tank, but it doesn't look any amount heavier than a regular M4 Sherman. Well, it's about 5 tons heavier actually. And the top speed is actually 8 less. So yeah, it's going to kind of feel like a neutered M4. You got the same horsepower rating. You just got 5 more tons to lug around, but you do a lot more damage. So probably end up taking a look at this thing if I can get an actual good game out on the test server. If not, then probably not going to be covering too much more with that one. So you can also see that it's an HD, and it looks really good. It's got a nice model to it. Next, we will look at some of the HD tanks that have been changed to HDness. And this has kind of been a long-awaited one. It took a long time for the Tiger 2 to get turned into HD. Probably too long. There were tanks that got turned into HD that, honestly, like, why is that HD, but the Tiger 2 is not, when this is a fairly historically relevant tank. And they've turned prototype tanks into HD before they turned this one in. But it looks generally really good. You can see all the scratch marks, all the weathering. Something World of Tanks has really done a lot better job of since they kind of borrowed the scratching and edge scratching and weathering of War Thunder and take that to heart. So generally, Tiger 2 looks pretty good. And next, we'll take a look at the JP2, which is a tank destroyer. Tank that I don't have and probably will never play, but it generally looks good. When I'm killing these, I'll think, this tank looks better than it used to. You can see all the beautiful specking, all the grills, nice machine gun port that's non-functional, and generally, yeah, it looks pretty solid. Next, we'll take a look at the S35. Where is it? This little guy. Look at how cute he is. This one was probably very easy to implement because they probably just like jacked the French model of the exact same tank and then just changed it a bit. Maybe added these these tracks all the way over the front. I don't know if these actually count as armor, but it would be cool if they did. Generally, it looks pretty solid. Too bad it's a tank that most people are never going to play because the elitism that happens in World of Tanks, where only people only care about what happens at tier 10. So, next, we'll take a look at the M7. And the M7 is a kind of maligned tank. A lot of people hated this tank. Where the hell is it? This guy. I actually really liked it. It was fast. Like at a top speed of 60, the turret was really fast. It had good view range. The pen was kind of crap at 105, and it did really mediocre damage at 75. But I generally didn't mind it too much. Like the gun depression was okay, and it was a good support heap on damage tank. Like let everyone else soak up the hits, and because it has no armor basically anywhere. This is one of those soft spongy tanks that you want to use as a pile-on tank and wolf packing and like that kind of gameplay. If you have to go up against tier 7s, then hopefully you can get around the sides and backs of stuff, because 105 pen isn't really going to be enough to get through too much, but 170 is actually pretty good if you want to make no money. So this tank is pretty cool looking. I like how it looks, and this is a tank that, I don't know, maybe if I had lots of excess funds, which I don't in my regular account, I would maybe buy again. But next, we'll take a look at the T-34. Dun da da da. Ba 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 ba. Where are you, T-34? Friend of the T-29. I kind of wish these were in like order of alphabetical order, but they aren't. So, taking a look at the T-29 in its SD form, you can see all its angled little hatch on the top. Now the T-34 is HDified, and I like that there's a little bit of glass specking on there. That looks kind of cool. But it generally looks like the turret got a little bit bigger. This looks taller than it maybe used to be. I think the tank got a little bit bigger, but generally looks good. They add a little bit of rust to this. That looks pretty solid. Bet a few emblems here would look good. Make the tank perform a little bit better, huh? And next, we will take a look at the Action X Centurion, the tank that's replacing my FV4202. Look at this. This is actually my first time ever seeing it. I held off looking at it until now, and it looks fantastic. It looks spectacular. I really like the barrel with all the mummy wrap on it. Looks pretty solid. And I have to be happy with this because I won't be getting the chieftain that I wanted to have so badly. But I won't talk about that. I do like that they filled the little basket up with actual stuff, because when you look at the Leopard 1, we've got a basket full of nothing. It would look cooler if it was a basket full of stuff. So size-wise, from what I've been able to tell, the upper plate is more or less the same as a Centurion 7.1. I have this tank, and it looks pretty solid in HD as well. But the upper plate looks maybe angled a little bit more. It's a little bit far forward, but if you look at the general size between this tank and the Centurion 7.1, this thing is actually bigger. And when you compare it to it's another tier 10 medium tank, like say the Object 140, you see the absolute tiny size difference between the Object 140 and this thing. And the Leopard grows in size, but then you got this thing, and it's just like a whole heap bigger than everything else. But it's got a pretty nice top speed compared to the FE. That was one of the Achilles heels of that tank. It could never wolf pack with Object 140s. And now this thing honestly can. Like, it's like 53 compared to 55. And the weight of the tank is actually a heck of a lot more. It's 55 tons compared to Object 140. Yeah, this thing weighs 35 tons. It weighs the same as a M4 Sherman. Sure it does. Anyway, you've got a whole different turret, and I haven't had a chance to test it out. I will be doing a video of that later on. But generally, the tank looks pretty solid. I like just about everything about it. Looks beautiful. It looks better than the FV that it was replacing. And next, we will take a look at my beautiful Carnarvon, which has had some modifications done to it. Where is it? It's right back. It's the lowest priority. So they've basically taken and removed the Centurion's turret that used to be on this tank, and they've dumped the Action X turret on the Carnarvon. This thing just looks weird. I'm not really sure if this was such a good idea, but hey, it looks kind of cool. Not really sure if I like it. It looks like something. I mean, it's a nicely modeled turret. I mean, the Carnarvon is HD now. I'll take that. That's always a good thing. But it's still kind of weird. I don't really know if I like it on there or not. But I think this will also be changed on the Centurion. Centurion 1. Maybe it won't be. Either way, a few cleanup things left to talk about. They have removed 3 maps that were absolutely pitiful and terrible. Hidden Village is now gone. Its assets are actually even removed from the client. Same with Province, because Province was also terrible, even for Tier 1 and 2 tanks. It was just bad, shitty map. Basically like an El Haloof at Tier 1 that has a big death zone, kill zone that just kills players that want to be aggressive, unless they're aggressive in the first 2 seconds of the game. So that map is gone, and South Coast, which is also one of the worst maps, and it can't be horrible. Like unbalanced lane, lane-based maps that it just needed to go, and it was bad, and I'd complained about it before, but now it is finally gone, which is great. And a couple smaller things that have improved. They have said that they have improved the TSSAA high quality anti-aliasing, and they've messed around with the shadow rendering a little bit on the tanks as well. But other than that, there really isn't a heck of a lot else to talk about. I mean, they've HDified a bunch of the artillery, which was completely unnecessary and a waste of time and money. They should be HDifying like tanks that are relevant to the game, like everything like tier 5 and up, not like low tier artillery pieces. It just really doesn't make sense to me, but that's what they decided to do. So you've got a bunch of artillery that you can stare at your HDness like you'll never do, because you never look at yourself because you're staring at the map from a top-down perspective or from the battle assistant cheating camera. So yeah, not very good utilization of your outsourcing to HDify your artillery, but it is what it is. And that's going to be it for the 10.0 overview. There isn't too much else to talk about or look at. I can't load up the Chieftain because I'm not a super tester, so we'll have to wait on that one, probably about 3 or 4 years at the rate that Wargaming is going about with the Chieftain. But if I can get my paws on it, I will definitely show it, but I don't anticipate that happening anytime soon. But thank you for watching, and I will talk to you guys again next time.